What does flow mean to you? Flow is a state of mind, a state in which a person becomes fully immersed in an effortless and continuous progression. To me, the ultimate goal in jiu-jitsu is finding that perfect roll with perfect and effortless flow. I'm Professor Hayden Martz, and this is the Flow BJJ podcast. Hello and welcome to the Flow BJJ podcast. Today I have an amazing episode for you guys. I have brown belt Greg from our academy and also Greg Cinelli from the Defy Foundation. I've been waiting to record this episode a long time. Super excited to have you guys. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
We've already been talking for 4 hours now about jiu-jitsu and probably figured we should hit the record button. So we're going to start probably right at the beginning of Greg's story and then just see where it goes from there.
Great, yeah.
All right. So first off, We Defy Foundation. Let's talk about that because there's a lot of people I feel like that need the information that don't have it, and I think we're going to do our best to spread that.
Sure. So We Defy started somewhere around 2016. A couple of the founders are Professor Alan Shabaro in Texas. He's a former Special Forces soldier who I believe he was the first BJJ Black Belt, the U.S. Army. Savage. He's a BJJ Black Belt and Judo Black Belt. He's built like a tank. He's a big man. My friend Joey Bozic, who survived a catastrophic injury. He's a triple amputee, and he's a purple belt in BJJ under Alan. And my friend Brian Marvin, who is like the head of Henzo Gracie in Texas. I think he's up to 6 affiliates that he's in charge of there now, and he's I think he's a fourth degree black belt now. Incredible jiu-jitsu and just great. All three of them incredible personalities. So they started around 2016. And the foundation up to this point has given, I think next month we're going to hit about 500 veteran scholarships nationwide that we've provided. And the scholarship is 1 year long of jiu-jitsu. If you are a Purple Heart recipient or rated 80% or more by the VA, we award you a 1 year scholarship to train jiu-jitsu at an approved facility. We give you a couple of gis, and you have to train a minimum of 2 days a week. And the proof's in the pudding. We have clinical science. So Dr. Gino, he's a clinician. He did his doctoral thesis. He's part of our foundation. He was just at the We Defy. We had a Circle of Excellence that we just got a VA adaptive sports grant. We got $200,000 and we spent all their money. We got all caught up. We have no waiting list at this point. So Gino wrote his thesis, his doctoral thesis, on the effects of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on combat veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress. And then there's clinical science and neuroscience behind it. And you have to read it, but it's absolutely incredible. I had to read the Cliff's Notes version because I'm a big dumb animal. His was 200 pages, but he did a neuroscience for dummies type of thing, and it was 6 to 8 pages and kind of explained everything as far as the release of certain chemicals, endorphins, the whole deal. And it explains it all in detail, and it's incredible. But having science behind it, having and just knowing, I can tell you what jiu-jitsu has done for me. I can say, oh yeah, well, this is what jiu-jitsu did for me as far as what I'm able to do and emotionally and physically, especially after all the injuries I've had. And, but unless you've experienced it, it's a little bit more difficult to explain. So, but that's what the foundation does. And now we're up to almost 500 scholarships we've done.
That's incredible.
And we haven't had one, knock on wood. We haven't had one. We have around 22 veterans a day killing themselves across this country. And we haven't had one suicide attempt out of the almost 500 scholarship athletes that we've had. So that the proof's in the pudding. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's the direct reason why. We have some athletes that did their year and they said, "Hey, jiu-jitsu's not for me," but jiu-jitsu gave me the that boost I needed to get me off the couch. And now I do yoga and hiking, but maybe jiu-jitsu wasn't for me. Others stuck with jiu-jitsu and they're still training. But it gives you that leg up. It gives you that, hey, I can embrace the grind for a whole year of my life and maybe I can just keep going. Some people I just sat with Ben. He's awesome. I just sat with a We Defy athlete next to me at Circle of Excellence for the entire week. Incredible guy, missing a leg, and he's already competing. He's a white belt.
That's awesome.
Missing a leg. He's a savage. I watched him roll. We were at Alex Martin's in Dallas. Like, we were able to train there a couple of days over the weekend. And he's an animal. God bless the guy. He's just a big tank of a guy missing a leg, and he don't care. He just goes out there and he grinds, and I love it. That motivates the hell out of me. How can I sit on my couch and feel sorry, do my little fat man sob? I don't want to go train today. Screw that. I got friends who are amputees who are grinding on a regular basis. You can't have your little pity party. You have to get out there and do it.
Yeah. What do you think it is about? I mean, obviously, someone wrote a 200-page thesis about it, so there's a lot of details. But what do you think on the surface? Some of the bigger things.
So I think it's the camaraderie. I think it's the tribe. Like, veterans we gravitate towards a tribe. There's always been, since the days of caveman, there's been a warrior class of society, right? And when you have been in the gun show and you go to Iraq or Afghanistan, wherever, the nation sends you, and you're in the gun show and you have to, you have your tribe, right? So I can't speak for like everybody else, but I was at Corpsman with the Marines. You have your fire team, you have your squad, you have your platoon, then you have your company, right? And then you have your battalion, right? And that's your tribe, right? It's us. So it's this little family that you have, and you're dependent on each other 100%, right? And then you EAS or you retire, and then all okay, where's my tribe? I found jiu-jitsu. I was lucky. I had a concussion history, and my wife was like, "You're not getting punched in the face anymore." I boxed. She's like, "Yeah, boxing, probably not a good idea." And I was like, "Okay, well, jiu-jitsu." She didn't know anything about jiu-jitsu, thank God. She didn't figure it out until, right? She didn't figure it out all like real close. But then it was too late. I was already in, So I started training, and then slowly I started realizing how many more veterans there were on my team, and how many first responders there were on my team, and people like me. And I was able to, now I have my tribe back, and then I didn't care. And then it got to the point where I didn't care whether or not you were a first responder or whether you were a veteran. Now you're just part of my team, and you're part of my tribe.
Yep.
Because veterans in general or first responders are going to gravitate towards their own first. And then over time, it's like that. Well, like I said earlier, when you walk through the door, you get my respect. Yep. Because I know what the grind is. But trust has to be earned over time. You have to know that you respect the tap and that I respect yours, and and that you're going to look out for me.
Yeah, there's definitely a mutual respect that has to occur.
It has to happen over time. That trust is earned. The respect I'll give you the minute you walk through the door. You're a grown adult, and I understand how difficult. Sometimes the hardest step is the first one, getting through the door in the first place, and recognizing that you need jiu-jitsu or combat sports in your life. But then trust over time, and then that everybody, no one can tell me if you've done jiu-jitsu over time, any length of time, you don't have like one or two or three of your favorite teammates that are great, the best training partners. And the minute they walk through the door, you smile. You're like, okay, today's going to be a good day, and that's just how it is. You develop that over time.
I've said that in the past. Jiu-jitsu is the only place that I can think of where you have people from such drastically different walks of life all be, like you say, a tribe. I mean, we have in our academy, we have a doctor, a lawyer, a stockbroker, but we also have 20-year-old guys who are just getting started in life, but everybody is equal on the mats, and everybody earns everybody else's respect, regardless of what you do in life.
100%. I've got all walks of life. Same thing. We have people with 50 letters after their last name. We have people that are that are like Sean that came up tonight. Totally blew my mind. He walked through the door. I mean, absolutely amazing. Like,
I heard when he walked and turned the corner, and I heard you say, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, I showed up. I'm here."
I love that dude. He's a good guy.
Well, if one of your own students drove 3 hours to watch you teach a seminar, that says a lot about you too.
Yeah, well, most definitely.
I like to think that I think that I don't know so much as the fact that it's the jiu-jitsu. I think it's the team building that I can do. I mean, let's be realistic. I'm in my 50s. If I was going to be a 25-year-old world champion, that ship sailed a long time ago, right? So, but if I can teach something to my students and I can team build and let them know they matter to me and that I'm willing to do anything for them and to help them along with their journey, not just on the mat, but off as well, then that's a good thing, right? Like that's what we're hoping for, right? So I was really impressed with him coming, but also a little overwhelmed. I didn't expect that. So
yeah,
that was really nice of him to come up.
That's really neat.
He's just a really
Seems
top
like a
shelf person.
great guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
awesome
we
guy.
had a good conversation. We started rolling, and he went to hit a Kanto choke, and it was like pop, pop, and I was like, damn! And thank God I had my hands where they should have been, and then he got to mount, and then froze, like literally froze. He goes, I don't know what to do, and I was like, okay,
He doesn't get there on a brown belt very often, right?
He's
like, I don't know what to do with my hands in this position.
It was quick. I mean, I could tell when we grabbed each other's gis, he was a little shaky, and I was like that immediately. I was like, okay, he's gonna go pretty quick, and he did. Yeah. And I'm a defensive player, so I D'd everything that he threw, and then he froze, and then we worked through it. I was like, okay, try this, and then he's like, oh, thanks, and I was like, well, and then the round finished, and I was like, oh no, we're not done. We're gonna roll now. Class is over. We're gonna roll now.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, you came all the way up here. I want you to roll. And
he's real strong.
Well, he is, yeah. And when we finished, he actually said, he goes, I said, ignore the fact that I have a brown belt on. Ignore it. I was like, I've just been doing it longer.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not here to kick your butt. Nobody is. Not in this place. We're not like that here. I was like, if anything, I want to get beat. And his eyes got wide. I was like, I'm not learning anything if I can just throw a nonchalant thing at you and it works. I want to get the work in too. You're helping me just as much as I'm helping you.
If I see that the source of the anxiety is the belt, I take the belt off and throw it off in the corner.
Yeah.
I'm like, does that mean like I don't have any superpowers anymore? Like I just like if Superman takes the cape off, is he still Superman? Like I'm not going to forget I'm not going to forget whatever jujitsu I know by taking the belt off. But if the belt is the source of the anxiety for you, I'll take that sucker off in a heartbeat and throw it in the corner. I don't even care because I want you to learn. I want you to get something out of this. I want you to learn, and I want you to get better. What's it? The rising tide lifts all ships, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make each other better. And if we can just give them a little extra attention and make it so they don't want to quit, and make it so that they, don't get me wrong, it's a martial art first. Like I get it, and it's not easy. If it was easy, there'd be 500 students in class on a regular basis instead of 20 or 25 or 30. But you got to earn it,
So let's start at the beginning. What got you into the military? Were you part of a military family, or?
I graduated. I was actually enlisted before I was enlisted and waiting to go to boot camp before I even graduated high school. They got me hook, line, and sinker.
Oh yeah, in the DEP program was that?
Yeah, and my cousin was my recruiter.
Oh, nice.
So you don't really know what kind of a shafting you take until you've been shafted by family. I'm just kidding, Joe. I love you, brother. Just kidding, Joe. Jokes. Just jokes. But he was my recruiter, and he was actually a first class petty officer then, and we both retired as senior chiefs. And so I went into the military, and I retired December 2012. It was about 24 years. Yeah, I picked up chief, went to Afghanistan, got held there twice, and then came home. Mm-hmm. And so I bet I did did 12 deployments in my career, and 6 of them were combat tours to Iraq and Afghanistan.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
but that and $1.50 will buy me a cup of coffee, you know.
Sebastian Younger, I don't know if you've ever read his book. He has a book that's titled Tribe.
Yeah.
So everything that you just said, I've read that book like 3 or 4 times, and it's just how it was all based off this Army unit that he was with.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what you're talking about as far as when I got out of the military, there was no mission.
Right.
There was nobody. I had nobody. And when Marines get together on the weekends, you get drunk, but someone has your back.
Right.
You come out into the real world, quote unquote, nobody's got your back. You have your own back.
Well, there's a funny like little saying that your civilian friends, if you're in jail, you call them, they get you a lawyer. Your military friends are sitting in the jail cell right next to you going, that was freaking awesome, you know? So that's just kind of, it's not far off, to be honest with you. It's not. It's pretty, I would say it's fairly accurate. It's a fairly accurate statement.
It's a brotherhood that I'm so glad that I was a part of. I still am.
Yeah.
And
you should be.
Yeah.
It's less than 1% of the U.S. population of veterans.
I thank God every day that I get to do what I'm doing. I'm grateful. I think about it every day in the morning when I wake up. It's like I made it through another day. I have great friends, great family, and I have my picture of my dress blues, a couple of them in the house because the kids like looking at them. And I was like, your daddy was 18 in that picture. Yeah. And then I think back, and then I'll like go off and I'll think of all the stupid and dangerous and fun stuff I did.
Oh, sure.
And I still, a couple times a day, I think back. I think I always will till I'm 90. I'll always think back to those days.
Yeah.
So did you find jiu-jitsu right after retirement, or
I did.
You did?
I did. Yeah. Shortly thereafter. It took me a little while to figure it out. I was boxing, but I couldn't box anymore. My wife's like, yeah, no more punches to the head. You got a concussion history. I'm deaf, so I wear hearing aids. When I'm sure you guys heard my voice when I don't have my hearing aids in. Sounds very deaf culture-ish because I can't hear myself, but I can read lips very well. Mm-hmm. But I can't hear. It sounds like I'm underwater. I can hear noise, but I can't hear words. But if you're speaking to me and I'm looking at you, I can read lips very well. That's one thing I did adapt to. But on the mat, I take them out because obviously they're like super expensive. It's one of the few things Uncle Sugar actually spent any money on to get for me. So, so I take them out.
So when you started in the military, or when you started in jiu-jitsu, excuse me, how long had you been training when you decided to start working with We Defy? Was that right away as well?
Oh, no, it was at least a couple of years. We Defy, when I started, We Defy didn't exist. Not yet anyway. But I fell in love with the mission of it because I'd actually gone to, I went to a couple of seminars that Brian Marvin, Brian actually coached me as a blue belt. He cornered me for when I won Pan Ams at blue belt. I was all alone. I had nobody. He saw the We Defy patch on me, and he goes, "Hey, where's your team?" And I go, "I'm it." He goes, "Nobody came with you?" I go, "No, that's it." He goes, "I freaking love that." And he goes, "What mat are you on and what time?" And so here he is. I'm in the final, right? And I'm a little sweaty. I'm a little gassed. And he goes, "He's tired." I go, "I'm freaking." He goes, "You're not freaking tired." He's like, "You're not tired." He's like, "You go after him right now. He's tired. Look at him. He's bent over. He's got his hands on his knees." He's like, "You just got off the mat. He's had a few minutes. Look at him. He's exhausted." He goes, "You go after him. He's going to break." I did what he told me. I'm like, that dude, he's got my loyalty. The guy's awesome. He's always had my back. Everything. Just to walk up to a guy that wasn't long in the tooth in jiu-jitsu, brand new, blue belt, competing, just because he saw the patch on the We Defy patch on my gi. He was like, "Hey, where's your team?" Yeah. I'm like, "I'm it." He's like, "I got your back, dude. No problem." He was like, "You're a veteran?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I got your back. I'll be there." He had my back the whole time. And knowing that I'm deaf, every time I looked up at him, he's like, yeah, you're doing good. Stay there. That's good. You know, he'd be like, hey, you got to move. You're going to get called. Come on, you got to move. You know, little things like just being able to look up and have a friendly face in the crowd when you're brand new to you know, that made a lot of difference to me. I told that story this past weekend when I was in Dallas with them. And I said, when people quit jobs, they don't leave jobs, they leave people. Yep. I gravitated to We Defy, not just for the mission, but for the people that were associated with the mission. So it's people like Alan Shabaro and Joey Bozick and Brian Marvin and good people like Travis Larson, TJ Kreutzer, like all the people that are on the e-board and all the people that are involved with the organization, the people that I got to hang out with last weekend, absolutely aces. They are salt of the earth people, and that's what makes me want to be more involved. Not just the mission. The mission matters to me because as a combat veteran, I want to affect lives. I want to be able to help people. But you have to have a solid team in order to do that. You can't do that by yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to have a solid team. And the people that are associated with We Defy are top shelf human beings because they all have a story to tell. I'm really nothing special. I'm nothing different than if you went to like Brian Marvin or Alan Shabaro or Joey Bozick or any one of the other people that are involved in the organization, they all have a real compelling story, you know? So I don't think of myself as anything special. I'm just like, but if I can use jiu-jitsu as a conduit to help fellow veterans, I'm going to do it. If I can use jiu-jitsu as a conduit to help fellow first responders, I'm going to do it. I'm going to use that because it's something that I can do to change their lives and help them. So I'm going to use that.
So speaking of first responders, your day-to-day job now is? I'm
a firefighter in Metro Boston. So I actually got on the fire department in the late 90s, and I was in the reserve. But when you keep on getting called up and called up and called up, so when I retired, I was done, and I still had my civilian job, my civilian occupation, and I'm at like 24 years doing that now. So,
wow. What made you choose corpsman?
I love that job. I love it. I mean, so it's funny. When I took the ASVAB test in high school, I took it with the Marines. And my father was like dead set about like, you're not joining the Marines. I'm like, okay, I'll fix your little red wagon. That's cool. I'm going to be a doc with the Marines.
Yeah.
So it kind of, and then he was like, you are an idiot. Right? But when I got off active duty, I was already an EMT. Mm-hmm. I already had my EMS license. So when I went to get hired for the fire department, I'm already nationally registered. Yeah, I already had my EMS license. So I already had my veteran status, for veterans have hiring preference mm-hmm. for first responder jobs in the state of Massachusetts. Thank goodness, right? That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But having my EMS license was bonus because that's part of our job. So it was a pretty good fit.
Yeah.
And the teamwork aspect of it really fit well for me. Mm-hmm. So and I fell in love with the job. I just love it. 24 years later, I still love the job. I love it. I love helping people every day and doing, just helping people out and doing, because you instantaneously, just by showing up, make their lives better within just most of the time, just by showing up in the first place. Mm-hmm. They're having a crap day and you show up to make it a little better for them. Mm-hmm. And that's important to me.
Yeah. Every Navy corpsman that came into our unit was like a step above, I felt. They were like mad in shape and very intelligent. The Navy could choose, I don't know what you chose, so they could choose Marine Corps regs or Navy regs.
Oh, yeah.
And Doc Vasquez, he chose Navy regs. So when we were all in our stuff, he would be in his whites, and we're all like, Doggo, he goes, I'm Navy, 100% Navy. He goes, I'm not wearing your stupid looking uniforms. And like, because he would stand out, you'd see him, like everyone's wearing camis, and there's Doc V. But probably one of the best guys. I remember on the weekends, we would knock on his door and say, Doc, I cut myself, you help out? He's like, yeah. He was just We always loved the corpsmen, and that was no lie.
I honestly, it's probably one of the most gratifying things I ever did in my life. Just taking care of the guys. I genuinely love them. I still have tons and tons of friends that are Marines that either are just finishing up their careers, because you got to remember, I retired in 2012, in December of 2000, right just before Christmas time. So the guys that I served with are now coming up on retirement now, like 10 years later, right? So, it's really gratifying. You know, I think that's really good, because that job is all encompassing. You're their nurse, you're their doc, you're their shrink, like you name it, like it's all encompassing. That's a real all encompassing job. It's about wellness. It's not just about one or two things. You're not their doc just when like someone's slinging hot shit at you. You're their doc when they're back at the barracks and they're hungover and they need a bag of, they need an IV, and, they need to, because we got PT in an hour and they're still hanging like a dog. That's when you make your bones. That's when you're taking care of the guys, and that's where you earn the respect. Like, hey, I was out drinking until about when? 45 minutes ago. Dumbass, right? So that's when you're earning some respect. You're getting some what I call emotional equity, if you will, from the guys. So that's when you're taken care of. I remember being in like Tokyo, Roppongi, Tokyo. We had just done a Fuji package for heavy weapons.
Yes.
Package at Fuji, and I remember taking the train. Here I am in the train, and I've got like 2 cases of IVs in my lap on the train. 2 cases of IV bags, 550 cord. And hey, guess what? We got to the hotel. Guess who was carrying those IVs? The Marines. They were carrying those boxes up to the room for me. And in the little hotel rooms in Japan are tiny, like super tiny. And I had them head to toe going down the center, and I literally would I nailed a 550 cord on one wall to the other wall, and I was hanging IV bags all the way down, and I had them all head to toe, all the way down. And I had like 10 Marines in this room, and they're all laid out, like hung over, getting IV bags.
Roppongi district.
Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah,
I remember the train.
It's a great place to party. Like when
It's actually kind of scary how great it is.
Yeah.
I know getting on the train and you'd hear the little ding, Roppongi, and like everyone, like 15 dudes would stand up.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
Camp Fuji was that was good training out there. That's what Tim and he asked me what I did, and I was a 31, a machine gunner.
Oh yeah.
So him and I, again, that
Heavy
brought
goons.
us. Oh yeah. We that brought us even closer together when he goes, I was 81. So I was like, yeah, right on, man.
Yeah, weapons company.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Good times.
So you have your own academy where?
I actually work for.
Or you teach at an
I
academy?
teach, so I don't own. I teach. I actually work for my professor, Ronaldo Campos, at Fenix BJJ in Woburn, Mass, and I work for him as well as Colleen Hennigan, and she owns Phoenix Tewksbury. So they're only about 15 minutes apart, but I teach at both schools, so it gives me I get to work depending because. It just gives me an opportunity to teach more classes. I probably, on average, teach probably about 20, 25 classes a month, 20 classes. Depends on my work. Depends on my schedule at the firehouse is rotating, so it depends, where I'm at.
Well, your teaching style, which I'm sure Greg will vouch for as well, was absolutely excellent after watching the seminar for a couple hours and then live rolling after. Just very, very deep technical teaching. I picked up some things. It was great.
Well, I'm glad personally because my black belt still has the new car smell. So I think I've been teaching since I was a purple belt, but you know what? It's not about my teaching style. I took a little from Ronaldo. I took a little bit from Eduardo Nascimento. He was one of my coaches for a long time. I had the luxury of training under him for like 5-6 years. My buddy Murillo, he's back in Sao Paulo. He's a police officer with but he's like the former Brazilian national kickboxing champion. He's a savage, but he's a Cicero Costa black belt. Dudu is he's a Barbosian. He's gone on Professor Barbosa from Sao Paulo. So I had the luxury of learning from some amazing people, and I would take from them and try to use it within a teaching style that worked for me, you know. So it's not really about me. It's trying to take this conglomeration of greatness and try to whittle it down into what I know about jiu-jitsu. And those three guys, I mean, come on, they've forgotten about more about jiu-jitsu than I'll ever know. Like, they're amazing.
I think it was that what was gone over today was you can remember it. It wasn't a million different transitions. It wasn't a million different techniques. It was how you had them chained perfectly where there wasn't any movement at all. You were there with the violin, with the fly paper, which I really like, to the violin, to the Kimura roll. It was like minimal movement with 3 pretty basic submissions, just getting there. I was already trying it when I was rolling earlier. So very, very, I could remember it, dip right into that tool bag.
I try to make it, because very often what happens is we teach one technique in a class, and we beat the crap out of that technique over and over and over and over, which is great. But when that technique fails, where do they go? And I personally, and another thing is too, when people are paying for a seminar, like, you've got to give them, where does it go from here? You've got to answer some questions, you know? And that's another thing. Like, I roll with people at seminars. Like, if I teach a seminar, I roll with the students, because they're paying their good money to learn from you. I'm a nobody. Like, I'm not Tom DeBlas, you know? I'm not Buchecha. You know, like, I get it. If people want to pay a lot of money to go see those guys, totally get it. I'm doing these for charity, for We Defy Foundation, just to raise some funds so that we can give another scholarship to another veteran in need, so he gets off his couch and he's not, you know, having suicidal ideation, you know? So, and when you're teaching a seminar, you have everybody. You have white belts. You have everybody, the whole broad spectrum of people. So you can also, like, I want to make it so that even someone with the most basic of jiu-jitsu, maybe training 6 months, can have a really good, firm grasp of what I'm trying to get across to them. You know, I'm not worried about the black belt. I know the black belt's going to get it, and I know the upper belt, the brown belts are going to get it, and I know that the purple belts with some experience and blues. But you have to go for, like, the guy who just got his blue belt last week, or the guy that, you know, or gal that just walked through the door 6 months ago, and you've got to make it so that, and you have to make it enjoyable for them. Yep. You know, you have to make it so that it sticks with them, you know, and that they'll remember you next time, you know.
There's nothing as an instructor that is harder for me than to have the night's lesson planned out and then have 2 new students walk in first night.
Right.
You know, you may have some crazy sport jiu-jitsu move planned out for the night, but you have to, on the fly, figure out something that's going to appeal to these 2, you know, people off the street that, you know, may not want to be inverting underneath somebody. I have no idea.
There's been a lot of text messages sent. I got 3 new people starting tonight. I'm like, oh wow, nice.
Well, and it's also you know, people might not remember everything you say, but they'll remember how you make them feel.
Yep.
And you have to validate and make sure that everyone feels like they were brought into the fold that night, you know, or you lost them.
No, it wasn't a 5-hour seminar, and what you went over was great. And then rolling, I mean, I was talking to a couple of the guys out on the floor while everybody was still working. They had big smiles. Hayden, a couple, Brian, big smiles on their faces. Go, did you get a chance to roll, Greg? I was like, hell yeah, I did. And they're like, what do you say? I was like, like I was gonna give him my brown belt. And he's like, oh, he goes, he did this and that, and he goes, I actually got that violin choke on, I think it was JP. I don't know if it's JP. Sorry, JP, if it wasn't you, but it was just good. They were excited. It was very exciting, and I was happy. I had a big smile on my face listening to him talk.
I have a fundamental game. I have too many injuries to, like, I told you, you could measure my 50-yard dash with a sundial. I am a slow dude. I slow that game right on down. I just want my meat hooks on you, and I want to suck you in.
Yeah.
You know? So my game is very fundamentally like a sound fundamental game, but there's nothing super highly crazy technical. You don't see me doing cartwheel passes and all the high like agility things. Why? Because it's just, I'm an old man. You know, I'm an older guy. I'm in my 50s. I'm an older grappler, and I know what I am, and I'm comfortable in my own skin, and I'm comfortable with the game I play. You know, that's not to say I don't step outside the box and learn something new. Hell, I don't care if the new white belt walked in. If he's got something to offer, I'll listen to anybody. I don't care. Yep. You got to stay humble in this game.
Yeah.
But I just look at it like, you know, I know what I am and I know what I'm not. and a 25-year-old, I'm not.
You can learn like you said, anything from anyone. I mean, last week I was rolling with a brand new student, high school wrestler, just won the state championship. And I'm in like front headlock position on him, and he hit the fastest sit out that I've ever felt in my life.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, that's how that's supposed to feel.
Yeah.
You know, but you can learn from anybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Humility and gratitude are like two huge things with me. If you're humble and you're grateful for what you have instead of being hateful for the things you don't, you can go a long way.
Yeah.
You know.
Well said.
Yep.
So, I think it was a blue belt, and I was rolling with Eduardo, and I think Dudu arm barred me on the same arm like 30, 40 times in 1 week. Right. I was literally, I could not open my arm anymore. And I was using two hands to hold my toothbrush and move my head around my toothbrush. My arm hurt. My elbow was the size of, like, honestly, it looked like a giant orange on the end of, like, at my elbow, right? It was crazy. I was doing a pull-up, and one arm is fully extended, and one was locked at, like, you know, I still had, like, half to go, but I couldn't open my arm all the way, right? And I said to him, I got towards the end of the week, it was probably like I think it was like Saturday. It was the last day of training for that week. And he's teaching class in Woburn. And I walked in, and my arm is, I kept on, like, it changed the way I played, everything. Because I was like, man, I can't even move this arm. It's killing me. I was soaking it in an ice bucket like a you know, like a pro pitcher or something, for crying out loud. I was wrapping it in ice and everything. And so I said to him, he came walking in, and we were getting ready for, like, I think he and I were getting ready to go to Nogi Pans in New York City. And he's like, okay, guys, I just want to let you all know I'm coming in here and I'm killing all of you today. He rolled with everybody. He rolled with me first. And I'm like, at the point I'm like, you got to either tell me what I'm doing wrong, or you got to lay off this arm. I cannot even open it right now. And he goes, I'll give you an idea. And then he gave me like a couple of words of encouragement, and he told me some things. And he went for the arm, and I defended. And he goes, oh, we figured it out. Right? I mean, like my dad used to tell me when I was a kid, he used to say, stupidity should be painful. But I was doing something stupid. And rather than just tell me what I was doing wrong, he was trying to get me to figure it out for myself. And he was but he had to give me a couple of little ideas so I could figure it out. And then I started defending it properly. And then he goes, now I won't have to do it to you anymore, because now I know, because now you know. But he would do things to you over and over again until you started figuring it out, because he's like, that's part of your growth. If I give you the answers to every test, you're not going to learn anything. But if I help you figure out the answers to the test on your own, now you're growing. Now you're growing in jiu-jitsu. You're growing with your brain. You're thinking on the mat. So that I'm eternally grateful for with him. And I kind of do the same thing with some people. Like, if you keep on doing the same dumb thing over and over again, I'm going to make you pay. But I do it with, like, I don't quite take it to the level that he did with me, you know, because he's just, I mean, he's like world class, you know. But you learn a lot from people. You learn a lot that way. And pain is a motivational tool.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
If I know that someone, like, every single time I'm doing something stupid and I'm going to pay for it. And eventually I start saying, hey, I've had about enough of this. I got to figure out what this is that I'm doing wrong, where he hits this so seamlessly, so easily on me every single time. What am I doing? Am I telegraphing something? Am I making it too easy? What am I screwing up? And then you figure it out. You go, it's like the epiphany. The light bulb goes off and you're like, you know, because I don't care who you are. If you've been training for any length of time, every single one of you have had driven home with the windows down, the music off. You're clenching the steering wheel. You're talking to yourself, telling you what kind of an idiot you are. Like, how did you let that happen, you moron? Like that positive self-talk we do.
Yeah,
you know,
I did that tonight. Actually, I was driving back, going, God damn.
Yeah, that's not exclusive just to like lower belts either.
No.
That's anyone.
No,
Yeah.
no. I've done it. I've done it a lot.
No, I like how you, like, that's kind of changed my mindset now as far as rolling with the younger guys, as the younger belts is like, you know, don't beat them, but give them the opportunity to figure it out.
Only if it's when it's glaring and it's something that's going to get them in real bad trouble in the future, and you try to get them to figure it out. You know, maybe you shouldn't put your hand there on it all the time.
Gotcha.
Because you're telling, like, you're, you know, little things, little tiny things that make them pay, and you go, whoa, I'm going to catch you with this every single time until you start doing something different, and you kind of give them that brotherly nudge, you know, in the right direction, and let them figure it out on their own.
Gotcha.
You know, it's not about beating the brakes off of somebody. That there's nothing there for me. Like, I don't care. That's not right either. I don't want them to quit jiu-jitsu because they rolled with their coach and the coach is freaking teeing off on them. That's not fair. It's not right. You're not there for your ego. You're there to teach them. I tell my students all the time, you use something I know is mine and you use it on me and you hit it, man, I'll buy you a beer. I'll be super psyched for you. You hit it in a tournament, hell, I'll buy you a case of beer. Hell, like that, I find that, like, that is so motivating. Like when I see one of the students hit something that I know is they didn't get from another coach.
I love that.
That totally pumps me up, man. That like motivate the next week. I'm like, we're doing that again. That's awesome. You know, it pumps me up because it's that, like, that transfer of knowledge and you see that light bulb and they hit that under stress. It's one thing to hit it on the mat when you're in the gym.
Right.
That's the laboratory. And sometimes your experiments go boom right in your face, you know?
Yes. Yep.
But on the mat, when you have someone who doesn't have a vested interest in your well-being, you got your little adrenaline pump going on and they're under a little bit of stress, and then they hit something that you know they didn't get anywhere else.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? That you're like, I know where you got that. That's awesome. You know? And that's all the satisfaction. Actually, Kurt Osiander said it really well. He said, when you're a jiu-jitsu coach or a professor, you're raising snakes, and sometimes those little buggers bite you back.
Yep.
And I think that's cool as hell.
100%.
I think that's cool as hell. Like, you know, I mean, how cool is that? You have some young blue belt that you taught something to, and then you don't see it coming or something like that, and then all of a sudden, you know, he hits something and you're like, I know where you got that, you little bugger.
Yeah.
You know, or when the other guys that are rolling, they go, we're you know, I know who taught you that pass. Hey, coach, can you stop teaching him stuff? You know, because he's using your stuff on us.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's great.
So you mentioned your instructor used multiple submissions over and over to correct mistakes, pain being a motivating factor. How do you feel competition is as, like, I feel like if you make mistakes in competition and you pay the penalty by submitting, that's a very quick way to learn to correct mistakes.
So I'm a firm believer in training hard, fight easy. That was Dudu used to say that all the time. You're going to come in here, you're going to grind, you're going to drop a gallon of sweat on the mat, and we're going to put you through like Shark Tank. We're going to put you through Highlander, you know, like where, you know, there can be only one at the end, you know, and we're going to just put it on you. And then when you get on the mat, you are going to take their lunch money because I'm going to make it so hard on you here. Ronaldo does the same thing. Ronaldo fought in the cage. He can make it as hard as he wants in there. There's days, you know, when I was getting ready for a tournament, he would just be like, I don't care how tired you are not taking a round off. You're going to keep going. Come on, old man, let's go. and he would keep me going. And it really makes all the difference in the world. It really does. You know, train hard, fight easy. But if you make a mistake in a tournament, now I know where the hole is that we have to fix. We have to patch that hole, like a side of a ship in the ocean, right? You hit an iceberg, there's a big giant hole, I got to patch the hole or we're all going down, right? So I'm going to go find where that hole is. Like, if I see a general trend, right? If I see a general trend amongst my students, like, or teammates, and I go, hey, the white belts are having a problem with this, you know, with framing and guard retention or something. Hey, guess what we're doing for the next 2 weeks?
Yep.
Framing and guard retention.
100%.
And we're going to work on it, because maybe the blue belts have it, but maybe that it isn't getting passed down to the white belts, and we need to work on it. Now, we have a very good fundamental program at our team where in Woburn, more specifically, white belts are kind of segregated for a little while. We have a purple belt who, his name is Ethan. He's the one I told you he's made out of rubber. I think he's an alien. I don't even think he's human, right? He has got beautiful guard retention. So he's very good with fundamentals. So we kind of segregate some of the white belts and have them do fundamentals class with him and a couple of other guys. And what we found is, A, it increases their survivability on the mat when they're going against some color belts, right? B, we don't find that we have such a high attrition rate. People aren't walking in and quitting within 2 days. They're lasting till they get to go out onto the mat with the color belts, where you bring them up with the blues and the purples, and you let them, you know, they're not fish food because they understand certain fundamentals. They're going to make mistakes, obviously. I mean, no one just walks on board and says, okay, I know jiu-jitsu, cool,
right.
You know. But we found that by doing that, we haven't had as many people quit within like a month. Because we all know this is a very transient martial art. People come in, they think they know what they're doing, they think they're going to like it, and then they realize the first time someone drops a shoulder in their face or puts pressure on them, and they almost, you know, a little pee comes out. You know what I mean? And then they realize maybe this isn't for me. You know. So what we've done is we've done that, and we've noticed a massive difference.
That's awesome.
The fundamentals with the white belts, for sure. Let them get a stripe. Let them earn a stripe. You know, let them be there for a while. Let them, and it's not really. It's kind of crazy because the white, you know as well as I do, white belts will kill each other. They'll eat their own. They don't care.
Yeah.
Right. Like we treat them nice. They will literally they don't care. They'll put each other in the hospital. They think everything's the Olympics. Right. Yeah. So
we've got 3 or 4 of those that gravitate toward each other.
Oh yeah,
I swear.
It's like I call it white belt on white belt crime.
Yeah.
It's like it's criminal what they do. And I sit there and I look back. I go, wow, man, I was a total dink. I can't even imagine like what I was doing back then. Yep. You know. But we found that by segregating them from the basically the rest of the school of fish and letting them train amongst themselves with solid fundamentals. You know, and telling them, hey, do us a favor. Can you stay off of YouTube and just do fundamentals for now, just to get through this little segment? And then, because we all know, like, once you turn blue belt, that's like you're like a, what do they call blue belts? I call them the black belts of quitters. But but blue belts are like,
that's fair.
They're like technique sponges. Constant technique. I got to be on YouTube. I got to look at every single thing, you know. But we found that when we take the white belts and we bring them up a little slower, segregated from everybody else, then when we let them join the regular class, they have a little game going for themselves. Mm-hmm. You know, they're still going to get a little dominated by the blue belts and the purples, but they're at least then they have a little game they can play. Yep. They have a little thing to play with. You know,
we've had to didn't have to, but decided to implement. Our school's a little bit smaller, so it's not easy to have a separate white belt class.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So the sort of compromise we came up with is 12 classes, the ability to know 1 mount escape, 1 side control escape.
Sure.
And 1 guard pass. And then you get your first stripe after 12 classes super early, but that kind of signifies that you can now live spar. As opposed to prior to that, you're allowed to do situational drilling and stuff like that, but no live sparring. Just
right.
I feel like we have been live rolling long enough. We think it's like the greatest thing ever, but a brand new person is super paranoid about that,
right?
You know? But we act like, oh yeah, just hop out there, you'll be fine.
Well, that's what I did.
Yep.
You know, I was in my 40s and I stepped out on the mat. In my very first class, I was live rolling, and I got destroyed, and I was like, I got to learn this. This is amazing. I love this. From the very first night, I fell in love with it.
I think but I think there's polar opposites with those people.
Oh, sure.
You and I get our butts kicked and want to come back and figure it out. And then some people are like, I never want to see these people again.
Right? Like, you'll be hearing from my attorney.
Right. So how long have you been training altogether?
I joined the team in 2014.
Okay.
So 8 years.
Nice.
But I train like 5-6 days a week. Any day I'm not at the firehouse, I'm training.
Yeah.
And I compete either monthly or every other month. I competed a lot at Blue Belt and a ton like early on, but and now I'm still competing at Black. I just medaled at Pans, so I found that was pretty good.
That's
I like
amazing.
that a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I liked it, but it's interesting. So it's funny when you're in your 50s and you're like Master 5 and you walk around and you've got like gray hair and salt and pepper beard and you walk around and all the guys are like, everyone's super cool. There's no like,
those are the guys to watch out for.
Honestly though, like I watched at the Pans, the adult like brand new like 19 and 20-year-old black belts, the prodigy, like the young prodigy, like amazing. I watched Tynan. I watched all these kids. They are absolutely amazing. And they hug it out, but they don't mean it.
No.
They don't mean it. They mean mug each other in the bullpen, like like they do not care at all.
To them, it's life and death.
To them, it's all about like getting their name out, because they live on the mat, and they're trying to make a living. You know what I mean? They're trying to make a name for themselves, and I get it. This is their career. So I get 100%. But if you ever seen what's his name? There's this funny video where he shows it came out a few years ago, maybe a few years ago, where what's his name? Raphael. He's a six blade. He came under Lovato, yeah, awesome, super nice guy,
Yep.
Super nice guy, really very gracious. Every time I've talked to him, like he'll always give you a few minutes of his time and be real nice, very gracious guy. So he put out a video, and it's like the difference between adults are like, they barely like touch fists, right? And they go, and then they'll sit in like 50-50, and one guy will come up in the last 10 seconds and he rips his gi open. He's like, he got get 2 points for the sweep type of thing. Yeah. Double guard pulls, the whole deal. 8 minutes of stalling, 2 minutes of jiu-jitsu. I didn't really see much of that in the adults at Pans this year. Those guys were amazing. Those kids are gifted. Unbelievably gifted athletes. Unbelievable. But then he goes, the masters, they come out, you hug, you shake hands. You hug again. You shake hands. You hug again. Then there's a judo throw. Someone goes to mount. He sits. He gets the arm bar. They tap, and then they hug some more.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "That was great. You want to go get a beer? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I want to go get a beer with you. You're a good dude." And that's the difference. But he said, now you see the difference. Now you can take a guess at which one I like more.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just kind of neat, because there's more camaraderie. I think as we get older, we realize that, hey, look, this isn't our career, Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're competing at Masters 5, you're doing it because you love competing.
Oh, sure.
Plus
the guys at Master 5, there's a lot of dudes in there that have been black belts for 25, 30 years. Like, there is a lot of them.
Some legends in there.
I mean, my friend Carlos, who beat me in the semis, he's been a black belt for 25 years. Like 18-time Pan American champion. Like that you got to put some respect on that man's name for what he's, and I mean, I was just happy to be on the mat with him, to be honest with you, because I have a picture on my phone of me and him together, and I was a blue belt, and he was like a 4th degree black belt. Now he's a 5th degree black belt, and I got this new car smelling black belt that I've got wrapped around my waist, and here I am, like across the mat from guys. And it's a absolute truth. You need to train until you make your idols your peers,
Yeah.
Fact.
I think there's a school north of here in Bangor, Titan Athletics. I believe Carlos is over that academy. I've seen him up there.
Carlos Dejena?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Dracolino black belt. He's under Dracolino. So I've always gotten along with Carlos. I like him a lot. He's a great guy, and he was very gracious out there. He actually came to me and said, "You and I should have been in the final." He's like, "You and I gave the people the match they wanted to see." He's like, "I wish I had seen you in the final rather than in the semis. You gassed me." It's like I was holding on for dear life in the final. He's such a good dude. Like even if it's not true, he made me feel better about it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, but you're never going to get two, like you said, from the adult division, 2 19, 20-year-olds to say that to each other.
No, he'd be like, whatever.
Yeah.
No. Two old guys, like, let's go get a beer after this,
Yeah. So, speaking of up-and-coming prodigy black belts, Mika Galvo.
That kid is special. Did you see what he did at BJJ Stars?
Yes.
That kid is special. He's going to be amazing. And to think, he's a fairly new black belt.
Yeah, and he technically, by IBJJF standards, shouldn't even have a black belt
right.
yet.
I guess
17.
The AOJ guys actually had to go and get permission. They're like, he's killing everybody. We have to. We can't wait. And I mean, he's proven he deserves to be there. I mean, he's taken down legends. He's taking down legends. How do you? I mean, you cannot deny the ability. That kid is special. I mean, you just can't.
Yep.
That's one thing that's great about jiu-jitsu. So I love football. I'm a football fan. I love football. But guess what? Tom Brady's not going to sit right here with us and have a coffee and talk football with me. But guess what? I've talked to some former world champions that were super gracious. They'll sit there and stand there and listen to you, like talk to you for like 20 minutes, have a coffee with you, discuss tactics, understanding like certain techniques. How many times have we seen videos? Henzo's in an airport and he's freaking teaching someone some joke or something in the middle of an airport, Hello, security.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it all the time. You see things like this, Where was it? I just saw Tim Barchard from New Hampshire, from Start. I just saw him. He was with, was it Gray Maynard that was with him? I think it was Gray Maynard. And they were teaching Bones Jones a choke in the middle of a hallway in a hotel somewhere, and someone shot the video. I was like, that is amazing. But that's how I mean, when would you see that in any other sport?
No.
True.
But
Very
you see
true.
it all the time in jiu-jitsu. It's not like isolated things. Guys are so willing to help each other out. It's amazing.
It's crazy how, you never know who you're going to run across.
You see it after open mats. I see, especially on Saturday and Sundays, when people start filtering out, but you'll see that dedicated group of 3 or 4 guys going over technique. Usually, Eric Galvez has got something going on over there, and there's 3 or 4 guys that will sit, and that it makes me happy when I see that.
There's a lot of improvement that takes place during that extra 20, 30 minutes after live rolling when you're spent.
Right. Because then the technique has to be right.
Yeah.
That's when you can hone it because you're not using strength. Yep. You're not all amped up. You're slow, you're methodical, you're doing it right. You're not it's tough because I can't tell you how many times I've said it to students where they're going so fast. And I'm like, guys, slow it down. Do it right. The speed will come. Do it technically perfect. Amateurs do it till they get it right. Pros do it till they can't get it wrong. Right. So if you do that technique until you can't get it wrong, the speed will come. But if you speed through it and it's sloppy, then it's never going to work and you're never going to do it right. And you'll be lucky if you hit it.
I tell the guys, if you can't do it slow, you can't do it fast.
Right.
Speaking of being tired and working techniques, the guys at Origin, I don't know if they still do this, but Pete, the head instructor up there, always used to run his classes. He would do 10 live rounds or an hour roughly of live training and then do technique after live training. That's how they used to do it. I don't know if they still do, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
Like you said, to have, a tired mind, tired body, tired mind, working through technique.
I know that when we were doing comp class before, when Eduardo was here, was on the East Coast, Dudu would have us doing, he would, like, Barbosa's not a big, like, huge warm-up fan. He doesn't want you tired. He wants you to learn the technique. He'd rather you spend more time drilling and rolling than just doing warm-ups, whereas I got to grease the gears, man. I can't just go in without a warm-up cold, I'm already on my chiropractor's table a couple times a week. I don't need to be on it 6 times a week. So I like a warm-up. I like a light sweat going. But usually what happens is I have them do, like, takedown setups without the takedown. Or I'll have them do, like, guard passing drills where there's like, okay, 1 minute straight of nothing but this guard pass, and then they go to the next guard pass. So the next thing you know, they've pieced together 6 minutes straight of constant guard passing, and then they're starting to get a little sweaty. They're starting to, like, but it's things that they need the reps, So I believe in that, at least having a light sweat going, because that's going to prevent injuries. And we have so many guys that they say that the fastest growing aspect of students for jiu-jitsu are people over the age of 30, people that are what's considered masters athletes, right? Masters competitors. So sometimes you have to weigh, like, say, hey, I have a bunch of folks in here that are, like, single parents, work 2 jobs, providing for their kids and still find 2 days a week to come onto the mat and train. Mm-hmm. I've got to weigh that out, what's best for them too.
Right.
And keep them safe. You can't just let them walk in and the next thing you know, we're doing drop seos on people. You know what I mean? Like, I have to make sure they're fully warmed up and that they understand what we're doing.
Yeah.
Before I, let them have at each other or do, or practicing and drilling. And
I've been running class similar to that as well, where you do a lot of your warm up is your stand up, and it's just entries, not the actual throw.
Right. Grip breaking, things like that.
Grip breaks,
yeah, for sure.
Arm drags,
setups,
stuff like that. Just set it up. Tom actually runs his school exactly the same way. Most of his classes are very short, but incredibly intense. There's no warm up. It's right to hand fighting, right to arm drags, collar ties. That's your warm up is moving.
But people aren't getting slammed to the mat right away.
Exactly.
They wait until everyone's got a nice sweat going. Then you can start warming up. Everything's warmed up and ready to go by the time someone gets taken down or thrown.
Yep.
I think the hardest part of, like, judo or wrestling isn't the actual takedown or the throw itself, but the actual setup, the footwork. The footwork's the most difficult part. We have a guy on our team who, phenomenal guy, great, top shelf human being. But he legit black belt in judo under Jimmy Pedro. Like, he was an alternate on the Olympic team. Mm-hmm. And he's a smaller size guy, but his footwork is absolutely phenomenal. It's not the throw, it's the footwork, it's the setups. It's just, absolutely phenomenal, But we do setups. That's great.
Yep.
And then, maybe every 5th or 10th one, I'll have them finish it.
Yep. Yeah, we're pretty similar to that. I think if you can get the first 90% of the throw, which, like you say, is the footwork and the entry and closing the distance, the finishing of the throw is the easy part. It's getting everything set up that's hard, that needs all the reps. So, no, I completely agree.
I like the stand-up that we did today with pulling out the lapels. I think that's going to, next time I teach a class, one of the warm-ups is going to be get those lapels out.
The reason why I do it that way is I got sick and tired of big, giant wrestlers sprawling on me. My setups, and like I said, I'm not especially speedy. Like, I grind, but I'm not really fast. So for me, it was, okay, what can I do to limit their sprawl by dragging their hip line right in line with me and meeting the leg, so I don't have to go quite as far. And then once I have that, then I'm aces. I usually finish it.
Mm-hmm. I like that whole series was excellent. That's going to be a really good throw that right in the beginning to warm up, right up to the single leg, bringing it up. It's perfect.
Is that something that you had seen somewhere or been taught, or did you kind of work
That was
it out in your
Eduardo's. I wish I could take credit for it. Eduardo taught me that. My half guard is Eduardo's. My open guard is more Ronaldo. My smash passing is Murillo. You know, so I mean, I take a little from everybody that I learned from. Black belts that I respect, that are good people, that I spent a lot of time with, that I've had in my house. You know, we've broken bread together. You know, and what I've done is I've picked their brain, and then I asked them their advice, because I'm older than my professor. You know, I think he just made Master 4, right? So, and I'll ask him, hey, what do you think about this? Before I was even off the mat, as I was walking to him after I finished at the pans, I was like, I need you to look at my videos. I need you to look at my matches and just give me something that I can work on for the next couple of weeks, because I'm about to I'm like losing my mind over this right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to know what it is that I'm missing, you know? And he was like, no problem. By the time he hadn't even flown home yet, and he was already like texting me, I already watched your videos. I can't even help myself. I got to watch them, you know? So, but hey, coaches need coaching.
Yeah.
Professors need professors. You always need someone who's better than you, who has eyeballs and can watch what you're doing and be able to tweak you, because you're passing what you know on to students too. So if you're tweaking things and you're making it better, right? Mm-hmm. Again, humility and gratitude,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
That's one of the reasons I think teaching at any level, whether it's a blue belt teaching kids or, you know, a purple or brown belt teaching adults for the first time or whatever, you get better just by teaching, because you start seeing the details of why you're doing what you're doing.
100%. 100%.
It's quite amazing.
It's undeniable. It's absolutely undeniable. You know, I still think my jiu-jitsu sucks, to be honest with you. But it sucks less than it did before I started teaching, that's for sure. Because I'm paying attention to these like little details that I have to pass on, because I'm going to have students asking questions.
Yep.
So there's parts of my game that I just, you know, I'm like so fine tune it so that when they ask a question, I have immediate answers for them, and we can adjust. You know, that's super important. I think.
I think you're right.
So what sort of advice do you have for older grapplers as far as staying healthy, staying in the game, recovering, all that sort of stuff?
So I would say that jiu-jitsu can't be the only thing you do. You need to be in the gym. You need to lift some weights. You have to. You have to build a suit of armor to withstand the beatdown that your body's going to take. So your joints are better when you use them. Compound lifting puts some muscle on your body. I'm not saying eat like a jerk, but you kind of, like, the past couple of years, I've put about 20 pounds of muscle on my frame. I had no choice. Like, when COVID got taken away, I had to do something. So luckily, my friend owns CrossFit Mass in Lawrence, Mass. I would drive there, and all I did every day was football lifts: squat, deadlift, press, squat, deadlift, press. And he had me on specific. So I think the first year, like right at the beginning of the pandemic, I put 13 pounds of muscle the first year and 7 pounds of muscle the second year. Mm-hmm. And it made all the difference in the world in my sustainability on the mat, because I wasn't getting as injured. I mean, it's not a matter of if you're going to get injured in this. You're going to get injured. It 100%. Just matters of when and how bad is it going to be, you know? But I took it upon myself, because I was like, okay, well, I don't have a choice in the matter, because if I don't, I'm not going to have the longevity in this art, and I love it too much to just throw it away. So the juice has to be worth the squeeze. You know, you have to be able to do things that are going to encourage that sustainability, that longevity on the mat. So that is one thing I would say. Flexibility, going through a flexibility routine. I don't care if you like it. I mean, you don't have to go full-blown yoga, but there's tons and tons of things on flexibility out there. Bands, stretching, things like that. And then rehab. I'm in an Epsom salt bath like at least a couple times a week just for my recovery. And I'm on my chiropractor's table at least once a week, sometimes twice. But some of that's based on the injuries I've had, and I need that, you know. Also, like, just, you can't outrun your fork. So if you eat like a total jerk, you know, you got to look at, sometimes you got to look at food. I'm not saying don't go out and have a beer with your friends. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying don't eat that steak or that cheeseburger. What I'm saying is have a 90% solution to your diet and eat and have a reasonable diet and look at food as fuel. And then that way, like, you'll be more apt to be able to train the next day. You know, Fat people don't eat fruit. That's a fact. That's a fact. When was the last time you saw a fat person eat an apple, unless they were on a platter with it in their mouth? It's a fact. It's not. I'm not harping on people, obese people. God bless them. But if you're going to do jujitsu, you need some carb in your diet, right? Most of my carbs come from fruits and vegetables.
Yep.
I do a ton of fruit because it's easy. It burns for me. It burns, right? I'm not like I'm not a huge like rice and potatoes guy, like tons of carbs, and I don't do carb stacking. So like if I go to dinner, like with my wife, and I'm gonna have a beer or two, then I don't eat the pasta. I'll have the carb in the form of a beer, but I won't eat the pasta or the potato. I'll eat vegetables and have my lean, like fish, chicken, beef, but I don't get the rice, the pasta, you know, things like that. But my carb will come in a couple of light beers.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not going mental.
Right.
You know? I can still enjoy my time socially with my spouse and my friends, but then the next day I know that I'm going to be on the mat, so I can't go overboard and shovel 50 pounds of food in my face because I'm going to be lethargic and tired, and it's going to be
have
horrible.
16 beers the night before.
Right? Yeah. Let's see how well that day
Military
works out
days
for
are
you.
over, right?
Right? I'm not 20 anymore, where I could just like go out all night and then arrive for pre-jump and jump out of an airplane hungover. You know, like step out the back door of an airplane like hungover and go. You know, we'd be out all night, pounding drinks, get hammered, and then the last guy to the ground had to buy the beer the next night, the next evening, right? So we hadn't even slept, and here we are at pre-jump, and oh my God, he's lower. And you'd pull your chute in, it collapse your chute, so you could fall an extra few hundred feet, so you wouldn't be the last guy, and then you'd throw your chute out, and it would blossom for you, right? And you're praying that you're not the last guy to the ground, right? You're all doing stupid stuff, and you're all hungover.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And you're doing really dumb stuff, right? I couldn't do that now. I would never even dream of going to a jiu-jitsu class hungover. I would be like, I am going to die.
Yeah. Yep.
Sounds awful. I can't imagine.
We
then
would sober up.
And then on no sleep, you'd go right back out the next night and
Oh yeah.
throw down.
Yep.
Yeah, it was part of the culture when I joined the service, you know. But now I can't do that.
Yeah.
I want my decaf green tea. I want to watch my New Hampshire Chronicle, and I want to be in bed by 8 p.m. You kidding me? My alarm goes off at 4 a.m.
Yeah, we used to party, and I ran a minimum of 3 miles every morning. At 05, I'd be up regardless, and it would, even after a bender, I'd be running to the back gate, and I'd get back, and I was stationed in Hawaii, K-Bay, and sober, like sweated it right out. I smelled like a fifth.
Yeah,
but
your sweat had a head on it.
Woo! Yes. Yeah. I couldn't do that. I don't drink now as it is, but I couldn't imagine. I couldn't.
But if I had that advice, that's the advice I would give, because it makes you want to clean up your act, because you don't want to go in and get destroyed. You know, getting all banged up, and like I said, I'm not opposed to like my adult beverages and like socializing and going out and having like a nice dinner and things like that. But if I know that I'm training the next day, I dial it back a lot.
Yeah.
But definitely my recovery, sleep is huge. Sleep is enormous. You have to have good sleep hygiene. Put the phone down like a good hour before you go to bed, so you don't have that white screen in your face. And I got to check this last email. Guess what? If somebody's dead, they'll be dead tomorrow. They're still going to be dead.
Yep.
Go set your alarm, go to bed, get that sleep. I don't think I last like 10 minutes. I'm out,
Well, if you said you haven't slept in 36 hours or so?
I've been up since yesterday.
Ah.
Yeah.
let's get you to sleep then.
Yeah, hey, you know what? I mean, that's one of the reasons I was like, hey, Rick, do you mind if we push it to noon since it's going to be a late night the night before? He's like, yeah, no problem, brother. No big deal. Yeah. Piece of cake. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness.
Rick's a great guy.
He's awesome.
I always tell everyone he was a black belt when I was a white belt, and early on he drove. Well, he's about an hour away, but he drove up every Tuesday night to teach class. Probably 6 or 8 months, I would say. Just because, But I learned so much from him.
He's a great guy. He really is. He's top shelf.
Yep.
I mean, I can't even begin to tell you. Like, it was really he's always been super, super nice to me.
He's got an amazing closed guard overhook series that he does, and
he's a dangerous dude.
Yeah,
he's got a dangerous game.
Yeah.
Legit. Yeah. And those long legs are very very problematic. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Let's get you some sleep.
Thanks, brother.
All right.
Right on. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Professor Hayden here. I wanted to take a second to go over the Flow Sub-Only sponsors and thank them for all that they do for us. First up is First National Bank. We do all of our banking and business with them. If you are in the Mid-Coast Maine area or really anywhere in southern Maine, definitely worth checking them out. Huge thank you to them. Thank you to Charles Schwab. If you are looking for an investor, great company to use. I can set you up specifically with one of their brokers. He does an awesome job. Thank you to Foot and Ankle Associates of Maine. They did my most recent ankle surgery, and they were absolutely amazing. They are phenomenal. They took phenomenal care of me, and the results were amazing. Epic Roll BJJ. They are the official gear company of Flow Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Huge thank you to them. Awesome gear. Definitely check them out as well. Thank you to Gym Desk. They are an amazing gym software company. They manage all of your membership dues, promotion schedules, websites, new members, everything that you need to do to operate a gym. They take a lot of the legwork out. Phenomenal system. Highly recommend them. Roll Junkie, another gear sponsor. They actually just sent me a care package. I tried the no-gi gear on last night. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Very, very high quality. Highly recommend them as well. I'll definitely be buying some more gear from them. Flow Kimonos. They're a company that we've been using for a long time for kids and adult gis. They have super light, super comfortable gis. I really, really like their kids' gis. When you're a little kid, gis are not comfortable, and they have managed to create a comfortable gi for kids, which I really, really appreciate. Digital RX Consulting. If you are in the automotive, marine industry, anything along those lines, or just marketing in general, search engine optimization, website design, any type of online digital marketing, Nick from Digital RX is phenomenal. Just message me and I can certainly hook you up with him. He's great. Jay's Barbershop. Thank you to Jay. Phenomenal place. Highly recommend if you're in the Brunswick, Bath area. Definitely check him out. Maritime Energy. They keep Flow warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Huge thank you to them for heating oil propane company. Massage by the Sea is phenomenal. If you are in Mid-Coast Maine, definitely check her out. They do an amazing job. First time is $59 for an hour massage, and it's phenomenal. And then prices are super reasonable after that. Highly, highly recommend her as well. Spine by Design, chiropractic in Rockland, Maine. Both my wife and my daughter spend a significant amount of time there, and only the best things to say about them. Muzzy Ridge Electric, Tom, one of my purple belt students, phenomenal guy. Just had him do some electrical work at my house, and everything was done on time, efficiently, clean work. Very, very good. Highly recommend Tom as well. Lastly, Key Auto Group. They're a auto group with 26 dealers on the up and down the East Coast. Automotive needs, anything like that, definitely check them out as well. Remember, you don't need to move fast. You simply need to move forward. Life presents all of us different obstacles. It's easy to give up. However, get up, smile, and put one foot in front of the other. Everything works out. I promise you. Tom DeBlas.